Hello there, piano lovers, and welcome back to yet another episode of National Piñatagraphic. And this is the first and ever National Piñatagraphic special. And in today's episode, we'll be talking about one of the island's main enemies, or at least for this day, being known commonly as Pastor's henchmen, the Ruffians, or Homo tribus. Ruffians are a small tribe of basically just small, reddish humanoid beings, or more accurately, hominids, that have tribal tattoos all over their arms and legs, and have gigantic masks that took up a large proportion of their bodies. And I mean a large portion. Ruffians have been treated as the main antagonists in both the games and the series, always causing trouble in every turn, especially within their master, Professor Pester. But despite all that, Ruffian history goes incredibly way back in time. First off is their history. Ruffians are dated back at least 85,000 years ago by a common ancestor known as Homo erectus. Their branch is basically right in the bottom, right next to the Homo saltopictus. So let's talk about this family tree for a second. The Homo erectus is split off into two main groups. The ones that are basically the ones that are more human-like, and others that are being the indigenous dwarves. For a few thousand years there, Homo erectus has split off into two ancestors. The first ancestor being the lower branch had became an indigenous dwarf. The indigenous dwarves being these two, Homo tribus and Homo saltopictus. Now further up the branch in the middle are the rest of the hominids, those being Denisovans, Heidelbergensis, and some of the humanoid monsters. Further up the branch are the three main homos, two of which are the last survivors, Homo neanderthalensis, Machixoticus, and Homo sapiens. Homo neanderthalensis are basically the ones that are more buff-like, have smaller groups, and they tend to be incredibly strong. Homo sapiens are maybe a bit weaker, but their entire incredible intelligence skills are able to have problem-solving skills and are able to create more tools than Neanderthals have ever achieved. In the middle branch, there's the sister species of the humans, that being the witches. Unlike most members of its genus, Homo Machixoticus is the most equipped, despite being listed as near threatened. Those equipments include 1. Their ears, which are able to detect danger from a mile away, due to their habitat being incredibly dangerous, and 2. Their magical abilities that are harnessed within their bile sac that's connected within their heart. These three hominids alone have created massive wars to each other. One is more longer than the last. But now back to the Ruffians. As it turns out that the Homo lumpas are actually the closest living relatives of the Homo tribus, or the Ruffians, given the fact that they are both short. With the difference being that Ruffians are about 1.5 feet in length, 3 to 4 feet in height, and weigh up to 80 pounds or 36.29 kilograms. Whereas the Lumpas are at least 2 feet tall at the most, being roughly shorter than the Ruffians. Now, Ruffians live in a much more primitive style in comparison to other hominids, or homos to be more specific, being able to live on gigantic tree trunks on the colossal jungle canopies above the rest of the animals. Their natural, primeval instincts are all led by hunger, force, and aggressively being hunted and defending themselves with every will. And one creature made them incredibly aggressive: the Dragonosh. Now, 70,000 years ago, when the Ruffians started to establish the jungles and the rest of the plains and deserts and arctics of Piñata Island, there was an apex predator that always hunted the Ruffians: the Dragonosh. It was the only native non-avian dinosaur here on the island, alongside with Diplodocus and the rest. Well, alive at the time. Now back then, this guy was everywhere. This species was the top of the food chain. which is also the main reason why the ruffians live on trees, all because of this giant dragon. So in order to protect themselves, ruffians have developed a giant mask with incredibly large teeth, gigantic greenish eyes, and reddish skin that resembles the Leviathan native to the island. And being the hunter-gatherers that they are, the ruffians are also the main reason why the dragonage had become extinct. And soon the ruffians have become way more dominant than the dragonage had ever been. Today there are roughly over 8,000 ruffians in the wild, 4 of which are Pester's henchmen, and Pester being part of that species. And despite their aggressive behavior, they just did nothing wrong in why the sour piñatas are even sour to begin with. Only one specimen was responsible to the madness. A hybrid so evil, so powerful, so potent, that it cost one major extinct event caused by this mad scientist. I am talking about the one, the only, Ida the Owlet! Bill Seifert! Tus títeres y tu puta Professor Pester. Get that camera out of my face!